still doing your thing?
What thing?
Oh,
Oh,
your
no,
kitchen.
no, I haven't. I haven't done it for a while. No, I want to start it up again. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Let me put this music on.
Maybe it's because I'm a Londoner.
I love it.
That I love London so.
I won't sing.
Maybe it's
join in.
because
Hello, everybody.
I'm a
We're having a silly minute.
Londoner that I think of her wherever I go.
This is Billy
I
Cotton.
get a
Let's take it
funny
both
feeling
ways. So far.
inside of
Hello,
me.
Ali.
Just walking up and down. Maybe it's because I'm a Londoner that I love London town.
I so love that song. I can't believe I found it as well. Maybe it's because I'm a Londoner, and tonight I am joined by Karen Wood, who lives not far from London, and worked in London.
Absolutely, yeah.
Was actually born in Hertfordshire.
Yeah, but my parents are from London, so I have strong London roots.
Well, you sound like a Londoner to me anyway. So hello, Ian, and hello, Sandra.
Hello,
there
Ian
are
and Sandra.
people.
Oh, that's
Sandra. There are other people out there. Lesley said, "Love it, ladies." It's nice to be silly, and it's funny because Karen and I go back. I know I've had Karen on here before. Karen and I go back over 30 years. I mean, our kids are now 32, 31.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. And 32. My daughter's 32. They're same age, and they used to be tiddlers together when we used to go to the church. And I cannot believe, when I'm watching, Victoria's now got 3 babies. William is now traveling the world doing all sorts of tourism things and stage stuff as well, isn't it, that he does?
Yeah. He was whale watching and dolphin watching last week, and he's on ambassador cruises, and he's acting and presenting and doing all the things that he loves. So it's great when you see your kids grow up and flourish. It's really lovely.
It certainly is. And I just realized that I think I'm on the wrong, that's what I want to be on, and that one. Somebody's going to say, "Oh, you're crackling," and that will be better. And I should be able to hear you better as well now. So, oh yes, very clear. That made a big difference. You just shouted at me. So, Lesley, I haven't seen you on here before, so it's nice to see somebody new. But say hello. Let us know that you're there. If you've got any questions, please let us have them. And also, if you've got any names for healing, please let us have those as well, because we put them all in the healing book. That's my lovely healing book. And they all get thought of every time I come into this office. Okay, we keep freezing. It should be better now, Ian. Diane, hello. Oh, Diane, how funny that you're on tonight, because I actually came across your name today and I thought, oh, I wonder how she is. And here she is. I just love it. So very excited for you, Karen, because we got the news, or I got the news a little while ago. I think it might have only been last week or even the week before, that you've become an education officer at the SNU, which is fantastic.
Thank you.
So what does that actually entail? Tell us.
Well, I'm still finding my feet, so it's quite new. I'm sort of like, I think, for the way I understand it, I'm the liaison between the students within the East London district that I'm part of. I'm sort of like the liaison between them and the SNU. I'm there to support, I'm there to help, maybe do some workshops eventually. We're hoping to, I've got my little, I'm part of a team. There's myself and Minister June Hughes, and we're part of a team, and we're going to work together. And June has got a lot of years of experience within spiritualism. She's got over 50 years, and so she knows her stuff. So we're there to support people that are taking the educational courses, and want to progress to take their PAS, their CSNU, to be accredited within the SNU. So we're there to help and support. And also I become a member on the committee of the East London District Council. So it's going to be, I'm looking forward to it. They're a lovely team of people, really nice. Keith's a great president, and I got to know them all through Zoom and lockdown, really, because they started up the East London District Council discussion group on Tuesday nights at 8 o'clock. They don't do it every week. They did do it every week, but now it's every other week.
Yeah.
But it was a great way of meeting people and also discussing stuff, a little bit like this, Val, but actually in a Zoom room. So somebody comes along with the topic and they talk, and I thought, and I got to know them all and thought they're a great bunch of people. And when this position came up, there was something within me that felt I needed to do this. It's new, it's exciting, challenging, but I like, as you know me, I like a challenge. So I'm hoping that I'm going to be able to support and learn and give some help to the people that are taking the courses, and we'll see where we go. So there you go.
Well, I think that is brilliant. And I was just going to ask you a question, and I forgot what the question was now. But anyway, it is good, because when it comes to students and support and backup, it's vital, because they need to have somewhere to go to, you know, who can I ask, what can I find out, what's going on, and that is really important. So I'm hoping it's a better connection now. Ian, hello Carolyn, and hello Jan. Funnily enough, we just mentioned your name before we came on air. How funny. So And I just wanted to say how lovely Karen's looking tonight, by the way. So, and that's what I was going to say. So since we spoke to you last, you've been trekking all over the country, trying to find somewhere to live, not happy. And then you came back to about 5 minutes up the road from where you lived before and bought another house there.
Yep. I feel like I've done round the world and back again. But, you know, I really explored the countryside and visited different places. I mean, last year, when I think about it, I was in Herefordshire, Cornwall, Lincolnshire, Wales, and the Northeast. So I travelled all around last year, and it was absolutely fabulous. And, you know, we've got some beautiful places in the UK. We really have.
Absolutely.
As you know. And when you live somewhere, you don't always explore it. So I explored, and I want to explore more. And you've inspired me with Shirley Valentine. So we may be buying not a camper van, but we may be buying a caravan to stick on the back of our car.
Oh, well done. Yeah.
Which means that I'll be able to explore even more and possibly serve different churches and go to different places and visit different churches, meet different people. I think in life, you know, I think we can just, I love meeting people. We get caught up with the treadmill and the materialism.
A little tunnel.
Yeah. And I think it's really important that we explore and we meet people. And I met some great people last year, you know, not just in this movement, but just, you know, in general. I met some really lovely people. And I think it's all about having fun and just enjoying your life the best you can.
Well,
so,
none of us are getting any younger. Hi, Lynn. Nice to see you. And it's interesting because you've just reminded me, when I first came to Australia, my daughter, Victoria, gave me a book, and the book was The Alchemist. And that is the story of the alchemist. The alchemist travels all over to try and find the answers. And when he comes back home, the answers were right there on his doorstep. So it's funny, sometimes we don't have to go searching. Sometimes we just have to be present in the moment, if you like. Right. And hello Tama. But it is exciting. I mean, it's like me in my van. I absolutely love going away and just, you know, meeting different people. I didn't meet too many people in the campsites on the way, but it's being able to have that fluidity, if you like, of being able to, I can work and I can travel, I can eat and I can sleep, I can do my work in the van, or I can do it. It was just so lovely. I really enjoyed it.
I mean, you know, Mike, he loves, he's a scout at heart, and he loves a fire. He loves a fire pit. and a barbecue. He should have been Australian.
You should because I know he likes kayaking as well. You should
He
tell
does,
him
yeah.
to get one of those inflatable ones, because I've got an inflatable one that rolls up and goes under the seat in my van, and then I just pump it up when I need to. So
Don't encourage him, Val. Don't encourage him.
Sorry, Karen. So, okay, let's talk about now. I know you do a lot of work with students, and over lockdown, we all did a lot of work with students and people. We transferred all of our work from in person, one-on-one, to online because we didn't have a choice.
No.
And I think now, people, especially here, I'm noticing, I don't know whether it's the same in the UK, is people are frightened still to go out. There's still that fear. People are frightened because the interest rates are going up or the mortgage rates are going up, but they don't, it's not that they don't want to do the work or they don't want to explore, it's the fear. And I've been thinking this week, how do we alleviate that fear aspect?
It's a difficult one because I've found that I'm still doing my work online, and now I've found online, I think I will still continue to do it because it's such a great tool when you've got people that you want to connect with like we do on a regular basis. When you've got students that don't live close to you. I mean, I've got students that are not close to me that I still work with online. But I think I've noticed in the churches that people are still a little bit tentative about coming out, although I've been to some churches and there's been a lot of people. Workshops, I find at the moment in the UK, again, some come and some don't. I've had to postpone a couple of workshops because, I don't know, there just didn't seem to be the people. But we are struggling at the moment with the petrol prices as well. I don't know what it's like in the UK.
Yeah.
I mean, in some places, diesel and we've got a diesel car, so that's expensive. But sometimes diesel is over £2 a litre now in the UK. So I think people are thinking about where they go and what they do, which is understandable. I'm hoping that it will come down eventually. But I think it's the cost of living. I think it's and everybody I think is a little bit worried. But the thing is, when I used to go to church, when we used to go to West Wickham, I used to find that I'd go to West Wickham no matter what. That was my home church and it was my local church.
Yes.
And I used to feel uplifted when I went to the church. I'd see
every
people,
time,
contact people. You'd listen to something on the platform, not necessarily get a message, but you'd listen to the reading or you'd listen to the address and get something. And it was like my top up. It's like, plug me in. I'm going to church to help me. And I think people need to do that. I think people need to reconnect. But I do think because we've been stuck in for so long, people are taking their time to build up that courage to go out again. So I think it's going to take some time. And also Zoom there's still lots of stuff on Zoom, which is great for the people that can't get out or don't want to. But I think that both avenues, face-to-face and Zoom, can run hand in hand. I really do.
Absolutely. And I totally get when you say about going to West Wickham, because it used to be like my weekly drug fix. And I'd go there feeling like death warmed up, and I'd come out feeling, I can fight the world. And I was just ready for anything. And then I'd go back week after week. And as you said, we made incredible friends. We got involved in the committees and the fundraising and all of that. And but just watching, and some of those mediums were incredible, weren't they? God, and they were so straight-laced, and so serious, and they had no expression in their voices or their faces, but their mediumship was incredible, and it was so funny to just watch that when I look back now.
Do you remember there was a lovely medium called Joan McLeod, and she used to talk about she was
90-something.
She used to talk about, she used to live in Streatham, and she used to talk about my spiritualism and your spiritualism. And it's quite interesting because it's, your spiritual journey is a very personal journey. And I didn't understand that in the beginning. And I used to think about, what's she going on about my spiritualism and your spiritualism? But now I can sort of understand that. But the lady that fascinated me most of all And I think we had to get to the church really early because it was Ivy Scott. She's, I mean, I don't,
Oh,
I'm assuming that I think Joan McLeod's in spirit, and I know Ivy Scott is. But
yeah.
this little old lady would come in to the church and she would be stooped over and she could hardly walk. But as soon as she got on that platform, it's like she was illuminated. Do you
She
remember?
was a different person.
I know.
She was.
And she looked
She
like
went
her
from being,
face. She
yeah,
looked like a young girl. You know, it was
but
just
she
wonderful
went
to
from
watch.
she went from being this little hunched over lady to this big 10-foot tall powerhouse. It
Yeah.
was just incredible. And the
Yeah.
mediumship was so absolutely spot
Amazing.
on.
Absolutely
Absolutely.
amazing.
But it made me laugh because there was a couple of them. There was another one as well. Was it Ivy Northage that came to
Yes.
our church as well? And
Yes.
they were all in their 90s when they were still going, and they'd
I know.
hobble up on the stage. And it's like Ron Perry.
Oh,
Ron Perry
gosh.
used to do trance mediumship, and he was a crumpled man, and he was so serious and he was so quiet and he never talked, and he'd get up on platform and spirit would take over.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I remember my boys coming to church once, and he stood with his eyes closed because he was in trance, and he put his hands on the podium at the front, and it was good evening everybody, and everybody jumped out of their skins.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
it was wonderful.
But there used to be a lot of that when we first started, didn't there? There'd be the speaker and the demonstrator, and the speaker would be go into sort of like a not a deep trance, but a controlled address. So yeah, I mean, when you look back, gosh, I mean, you know, there's hope for us. If the likes of Ivy Northage and Ivy Scott were still trundling out at 90, there's hope for us yet.
We'll be doing it. We'll be doing it.
Absolutely, we can start walking sticks.
Vicky, hello, and Carolyn's just said maybe we can continue to lead by example and just get out there like we're doing, not living in fear. It is what it is. Staying at home is not living, and I get that, Carolyn. Yeah. I do get it. And you know, so many people say to me, "I can't believe what you do. You must be mad," you know, things like that. But I'm doing, and you're doing what we're absolutely passionate about. You know, we started off 30 odd years ago. So it is 30 plus years ago, because our kids were really small when we were going to the church. I remember Victoria used to scribble on pieces of paper and then snore and fall asleep, you know, fall asleep and snore. And and William used to do something similar. But it's I think we've been very lucky with our background and how we've been trained and taught, and the likes of the people that taught us. And I think, Carolyn, I think you're right. It's just going out there and doing it. But it's not only going out there and doing it, it's doing it with the goodness in your heart, with that spirit, with working with spirit, not about ego and look at me. And that's what I was trying to allude to with the likes of the people that we used to see. They'd come in and they looked like nothing special. I mean, there was another one, not Ron Heron.
Yes.
He used to come in a suit, but he looked as if it had been crumpled up and he'd carry a bag all week. and he'd get up on platform. Oh my goodness me. The mediumship was just incredible.
Oh, he was amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
And his wife sometimes used to come with him. Yeah, Ron and June Heron, brilliant mediums. Yeah. So we got some questions, I think. We got.
Okay, hang on. Carolyn, Jan says, what do you think of people who are putting themselves out as mediums, but is no evidence, no message, and just nothing in what they say? Now, that's one, yes. We see a lot of that, Jan, and there are people who go to a workshop and they think they're a medium. And they go out and they, you and I both feel the same about this. They go out and in the name of spirit and spiritualism, they do all this work in the most irresponsible way. And it is annoying when, you know, the likes of us two have done 30 years of training. We're still training. We're still learning.
Absolutely.
I would never, I mean, listen, I hope I don't come across as being a person of ego. I know you don't, Karen, but we come across because we're working with the passion of spirit. But when you see these people, and, you know, again, over the last 2 years, I don't know about you, I've seen mediums on Zoom things, and you think, oh my gosh, where did they get them from? You know, it's horrible. What do you think?
Well, I think there's two words: service and responsibility.
Yeah.
And you have to do your training. And people say to me, you know, a friend of mine, we were having a chat a few months ago, and she said, if you've got a natural gift, why do you have to train? I said, people that have a natural gift of singing, of playing a musical instrument or writing, all go to people that have been there and got the t-shirt and train to sort of hone that gift so they know
Yes.
what they're doing. And when you have a gift comes responsibility, and the responsibility of mediumship is, you know, it's quite a big thing. It's, as I always say to my students, it's not about jumping up on the platform in a sparkly top and saying this is me. It's, you know, we have to have sincerity, we have to be of service, and remember it's not us, we're working with the spirit world. And we have to have, you know, we're dealing with people's lives, we're dealing with sensitive situation. You know, those people have just lost people, they're grieving. You need to have that compassion, you need to have that patience. And you know, and it's all about the, I did so you say about training, I attended a course with a lovely friend of mine from Ireland called Miriam Fitzgerald, and she taught me something: the use of language and how you know, what we say to people, how we say it, and if we understand what the words that we say mean in that particular situation. It's wonderful. It taught me a lot. And so we're learning all the time. Even, you know, Val and I have been doing it a long time, but as she said, we're still learning. So yes, I do get a little bit upset, but we cannot change what other people do. All we can try and do is just help people that come to us, give them the experience that we've had, and try and put them on the right pathway. And that's what I've always done with students.
Absolutely.
But we cannot control what other people do. We just have to keep our own counsel and our own integrity. But if people want to come for good training, you know, start off with your churches, find out who's in your local area. Both Val and I do stuff online. Go where you feel is the right person for you. That's what I've always done.
That's exactly right.
You know, with the right people.
So Diana's just said they stopped going to the spiritualist church because all they kept talking about was doom and gloom, fear. And it is, you know, there's a lot of that. So, and I can understand why you would walk away from your church, Diane, because we want to go to a spiritualist church and be uplifted like we used to be, Karen. Come out feeling, whoa, I've got the strength and the courage to deal with the world for the next week. Bruno, hello. Bruno is a lovely man. He was on my live a couple of weeks ago, Karen. He says hello, nice to meet you.
Hello, Bruno, lovely to meet you, and Diane as well, and also everybody. I'm not paying too much attention to all the people. I do apologize.
That's all right. Lynn is here in Sydney, and she says with training you learn the rules and the correct ethical way to conduct yourself with compassion and love.
Absolutely.
One of the, and that's a very good point. But you know, one of the things that I would say is that how many mediums do we actually watch who are doing mediumship, not even connected to spirit? You can see it. I mean, you and I teach, so we know when a student is connected to spirit. We know when a medium is connected to spirit, or whether they're just in their head and they're just doing it all from here. And that's not mediumship. So that's being untruthful. That's not being fair to the recipient or the audience, and it's most definitely not being fair to spirit.
I know. I agree. But the thing is, sometimes they don't. Sometimes maybe they don't understand what they're giving or where it comes from, and you know how it works. And you've also, what a lot of people forget is, it's not, you've got to sit in the power. You know, I always use this as an example. You know, we all have these wonderful gadgets called mobile phones, which we can't be without these days. You plug them in to charge them up. So I always say to my students, you know, we sit in the power. We learn. We try to understand about who we are. You know, learn about our spirit. You know, when you learn about yourself and when you learn about who you are as a person, it will help you grow within your mediumship. It's not, you can't put all your experiences, who you are, is part of you. And that makes you the medium that you are. I mean, I'm talking from experience here. You know, I've been at the college, when I used to go to the Arthur Findlay College, I learned a lot about myself. I learned a lot about myself when I started going out working as a medium. You know, every stage that you go through, you learn a little bit more about yourself as your own, within your own spiritual development. And also it's nice to have tutors that will hold your hand through every stage. And I always with my students, we always have sort of like a bit of a catch up. So every so often I'll say, right, I take them individually into the Zoom room. We set a time, we have a chat, we talk about their development. And if they've got any worries or anything, they can talk to me about it in confidence.
And again,
that's important.
Absolutely. And again, you and I, hello, Eva from Sweden, and Bella, it doesn't matter if you're late, Bella. It's lovely to have you on here. But I was going to say something and I forgot what it was I was going to say. But it's also about when you see the mediums and, you got such and such going on in you, and he wasn't very happy, and he was this, that, and the other. That just fills everybody with doom and gloom, which is what Diane said. And you and I know that when we used to go to the churches all those years ago, we'd go in. I know I did personally. I used to feel like death warmed up, and I'd come out of there and think, "Whoa, that was my being charged," which is what you said. That's a great thing. We need to be plugged in to be able to have the charge and the power to be able to do what we're doing. And I don't see that. I mean, I've been taking a group through mentoring at the moment, and we have really, really banged on about, I was talking about this on my last live. So in the college, they have Weepy Wednesday, don't they?
Yeah.
We had sobbing Saturday and sobbing Sunday in the last month, which was in May, and this one was, oh my gosh, the lights have switched on, and they say, we understand what you're talking about. But what we're trying to do as well is to not only make those, and there's a million parts to do in mediumship, isn't there? There's not, you do this and you do that and then it works. There's a million parts to it. But it's about putting all of the training, putting all of the ethical things in, and then putting your personality in, bringing in the personality of the person that you're connecting to. So it becomes a whole package, and it's a fun, uplifting. I do all my mediumship with such fun and laughter, and I know you do as well, Karen, because we've worked together. Recently and in the past, we're going to talk about that. But it is about people come into a spiritualist church like we did because we wanted upliftment. We wanted to go home feeling, whoa, that was fantastic. I've got my fix for the week. And that's not what's happening. I'm not seeing that so much these days.
I know. I don't know why. I can't quite put my finger on it, to be honest. But what's interesting, I think, is we have to remember that we do have the intelligence of spirit when we work. And I don't know about you, but I've noticed that if, for instance, you have an emotional message, and it's very, and the recipient is a little bit upset, and you've touched something within them, and the spirit communicator says some things, memories and what have you, then I often find that the next communicator that steps forward is a completely different character to that first one. And they come in with some interesting stories, and the energy can change within the room. And from where everybody's sort of like empathizing with the recipient, and the recipient's in tears, within the next breath you can be uplifted and you can be laughing. That's the beauty of how spirit work. And also they know what's needed in a service. How many times has the songs or hymns linked in with the reading and the address?
Every time.
Do you know what? That's synchronicity, which I absolutely love. And I always look out for things like that in services. And what's wonderful is that no one has spoken to anybody about what they're reading, what they're talking about, or what songs are going to be played. And that's when I think it becomes very magical. And it makes people realize, that spirit are around, and they are working out who needs the messages, who needs to hear the words in that song, the words in the reading, and the words spoken by the medium in the address. Because it's the whole divine service that I love. I love demonstrations of mediumship as well. But for me, I do love the divine service, because I do love the philosophy side. I love the speaking side. I always have. And because it touches the whole congregation, which I think is important.
So, and what also is important is when people are in a service or a demonstration, not everybody gets a message.
No.
But if you do it in a way that everybody gets touched by what's been said and done. I was doing a mediumship demonstration here in Wollongong on Saturday, and the last message, it was not a very good one to finish on, but everybody in the audience was in tears because it was so emotional. We had some fun, we had some laughter, we had that, oh my God, how did you know that? It was just really lovely, and I think that's very important. And you know, Janice just said she likes to make people smile at least once in a service, otherwise she feels she's failed. But I actually think that there's also something about the audience, the recipients need to be educated, because some people are frightened to put their hand up. They're frightened to say, no, I actually don't understand that. And they go, yeah. And again, you watch it and you can see it. That's why, and I know you do the same, when you're doing information, I give a bit and say, do you understand?
That's right.
And I need a positive before I can move forward. And some mediums, they don't even wait for that from the recipient.
We're working with, in my group, we're working with no's at the moment. And we're making we're making no's to be good no's, because when you get a no from a recipient, it pushes you harder with your mediumship, because you've got to work out, you know, where it's gone a bit wrong. So I think that's always important, and that's something that Paul Jacobs taught us, because he always said, you know, don't be afraid of no's. And because sometimes when you get a no, especially when you go and you come out of your power and you don't know where you're going because you're panicking. But the best thing to do is to just go back in your power and just work it out, and just go back and see where it's wrong. And sometimes it happened to me. I said something and I knew it was right, and the lady was going, no, I don't understand that. Okay, I said, okay, let me just put that to one side for the moment. And I said something else, and then it triggered something, and she said, oh, I remember what you said now, and that makes sense as well. So, you know, it's working and not being afraid to receive a no, and just working with it. I think that's important. So that's what I've been doing with my lot over the past couple of weeks.
And the working with a no, I love a no, because it's a challenge for me. It makes me work harder, and that's what I'm trying to do with the students. In fact, my students, my mentoring group, or some of the mentoring group, are actually on Brett's service tomorrow.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so I've got 6 of them doing the service, which I'm really excited about. So Elaine, nice to see you. Bruno has just said the connection with spirit should be uplifting and a moment to cleanse and heal. A lot of fakiums, I love that, instead of mediums, well done, decide to use that connection to give fear and anxiety to the sitters. Someone made a black magic work on you. I'll be able to heal by this amount of money. We've seen it all, Karen, haven't we?
I know, and it angers and saddens me, because, you know, I don't understand the mindset of those people to do that, because they're playing on a person's vulnerability, and it's not fair. Right. And this is how, you know, genuine, decent mediums get a bad press, which is not good. But, you know, there's always the yin and the yang. And I think hearing this makes me sort of surge forward with what I do, to show that mediumship is genuine, and we're working for the good of the spirit and for the good of the sitter. And also to allow people to connect with that divinity within themselves, and to be inspired, to be motivated within their own lives. Because I keep saying to everybody at the moment, it's my little thing, spirit don't want you to be sad. They want you to live. They want you to live your life. And I think that's what spiritualism is about. It's actually part of it is embracing the living, not the dead. People think, oh, it's somewhere, you know, oh, you talk to dead people. Yes, we do, to prove that there is life after death. But we're trying to motivate people to move on and to live. And to be,
and accept that their loved ones are still there, and accept that they're out of pain and discomfort, and accept that they're still around giving them guidance. And I was just thinking, as we were talking, you know, we're dealing with these things. Imagine what the Fox sisters and people like that had to deal with. Oh my goodness me. I mean, that would have been, especially in those days, that would have been horrendous. You know, all of that negativity and the being strip searched, and the fraudulent thing being thrown at them. I mean, we haven't had that, thank God. But we've been very lucky. But, you know, if it wasn't for those guys doing it all those years ago, we wouldn't be doing what we're doing now.
No, and I actually, this is another little thing that I'm on at the moment. I think it's important that we understand where we came from as mediums.
Absolutely.
We understand where mediumship started. Well, it started even before the Fox sisters, but
Yes.
where modern spiritualism started, and what those mediums went through. And you know, there's Emma Hardinge Britten traveling the US during the Civil War, being hissed and booed and things chucked at her. And you've also got to remember, Val, that you know, during this times, women were not as we are now. We were not empowered as we are now.
Yeah.
But spiritualism empowered women. And a lot of them were, I've got a book that I use, and it's called Echoes, and it's by Deborah Skelton. And it's wisdom from the past, and also wisdom. It's wisdom for in the present now. So it's all the philosophy from the past, which is relevant now. And I do a thing called Philosophy Corner in my circle. So I read something and then we talk about it as a group. And it's quite amazing how the words from the past are so relevant for the present. And a lot of the people, they're not all the well-known ones, but when you read what they did, you know, there was a lot of spiritualists that were very political. There was lots of spiritualists that were authors, speakers, journalists,
Scientists.
they were reformers, and you know, it was a very motivational religion in that time. It was very new. It was very different, and I think we've got to remember that. I think we really have, and I do think that those people in the spirit world are trying to push us forward to you know, to be proud of who we are, and to move forward with our beliefs, and also to have people understanding, you know, their journey, what they went through, all those tough times. They worked so hard to get us where we are now, and it's important that we still respect what they did, because I think, you know, to move us forward as well.
Yeah, I totally get that. And Annette, I've got your family in my healing book. Thank you. Bella, you've made a couple of comments about Rescued by Ruby and talking to Rachel. So I'm with you on all of that. So Jenny Doherty, what do you mean by some are comedians? I'm not sure what that means. Oh, you mean about the mediums? The mediums are comedians. You'll have to let us know, Jenny, because I'm not quite sure. So
Nice to see you, Jen.
Yeah, nice to see you, Jen. We're going to be all working together when I come back to the UK. So I'm looking forward to that. And
Can't
Jen's
wait.
coming over in December, and I've already got a den booked for us to do on the 8th of December, which is good.
Fabulous. Yeah,
so let's talk about some funny things. You mentioned about the first dem that we ever did together.
Val was very kind, because Val went out onto the platform before I did, and we met up. We hadn't seen each other for a little while, and we met. Funny enough, she walked in. I was just walking into reception, and she walked into the Arthur Findlay College. You brought some students, and you were a day student yourself as well, weren't you? I think
that's
was what
right.
it was.
Yeah.
So we teamed up for the day, and we were in Paul Jacobs' group, and we had a lovely day together. And then you said to me at the end, look, why don't we'll have a chat, and why don't you come out and den with me to get some practice? Because Paul, I think, had mentioned something about me practicing. So you said to me, I'm going to New Addington. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let me just explain. I'm a very nervous driver. I hate driving, and this was before sat-nav. So she said, meet me by this lay-by. So I thought I knew where it was, but I ended up at the wrong lay-by. And I had my mobile phone, and I was like, I don't know where I am. Help me. To Val down the end of the phone. So Val directed me to the church, but I still, by this time, I'm shaking, panicking. I know it's not, you might not think it's a big thing, but for me in those days it was. So I used to listen in the car to Capital Radio, and I had Capital on when I was driving. And then when I got out the car to make the phone call and try and work out where I was, because I couldn't get a signal, I then got back in my car, and the radio channel had changed to Smooth or Magic or something I can't remember, but it had changed channels. I'm thinking, what's that happened? Then all of a sudden the song by the Stylistics, "You Make Me Feel Brand New," came on.
Oh,
The whole car just felt so calm, and I just felt my dad's presence in that car.
yeah.
And it was almost as if he was saying to me, "Calm down, love, calm down." And I just sat for a couple of minutes and listened to that song, and it just, you know, filled me with so much love. And I found the church eventually, but I was fine. And you know, it just helped me. And then shortly after that, I decided to buy a sat nav. But it just,
So,
you know, sometimes we don't know where we're going, and we do get lost, not just
yeah.
driving, but in life. And we can always ask Spirit for that guidance and that help. And if we allow ourselves to sit in that silence and just calm down, they'll connect with us and give us the answers that we seek. So that taught me something. You know.
Yeah, it's very poignant actually. And Jenny's just said that that's what she gets called because of her sense of humor, the comedian medium. But you know what? I think it's very important that we do this work with fun.
Yes.
Morning, Lawrence. Nice to see you. It is really important because we're trying to prove to people that your loved ones are still in the spirit world. And yeah, some of them were miserable old devils when they were here, but not everybody was. So
No.
if you bring them through with doom and gloom, and people are going to go, well, that's not how they were. Sometimes it's the recipient, and they don't listen, and they don't know, and they don't understand, and but it is important to be able to do that. And your sense of humor, Jenny, is absolutely wonderful. I know the first time I worked with Jenny, my jaw was on the floor because I couldn't believe what she was saying.
The thing is, Val, Jenny is Jenny, and she's got this lovely, unique way that she works. She
Absolutely.
uplifts the audience. She puts them at ease.
Yeah.
But we know how respectful to spirit she is. We know what a dedicated medium she is, and we know that her evidence is spot on. But she is her, and she's got a sense of humor. She's got, she's got that gift of the gab, which puts people at ease. I mean, it's she's lovely, and she is who she is, and she should be proud of that.
Absolutely. And I think, probably Jenny, we've talked about this in the past, and Jenny's been knocked by people, and she says, some people didn't want to work with her. And I say, well, it was their loss.
Exactly.
It really was their loss.
I love you, Jen. You're fantastic.
Yeah, we all love you, Jen. It's the Jenny Doherty fan club.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Hello, Lawrence. Lovely to see you.
Yeah. So, and what else are we going to talk about? We were talking about silly stories, and you talk about getting lost. I remember going, and you know what it's like. We all live in London, and you've got the M25 around London, and the M25 at a certain time of the day becomes a giant car park. And the number of times I thought, right, I'll finish work at 5, and I've got plenty of time, 7:30 to get to a service, and you be late because of the fact that the traffic was at a standstill. And I remember turning up at a church, I think it might have been Bexley Heath, and I was so, like you, panic. And I thought, well, I could have turned around and gone home because I knew I was going to get there. I think I was half an hour late. And I went in the church, and there was all this singing going on, and they'd done all the bits of the service that I couldn't participate in, and they were waiting for me to arrive because they said, we knew you'd be here.
Brilliant.
And I was literally walking, thrown up on the stage, and off you go. And it was just so funny. But again, a great demonstration, an absolutely wonderful one. The other thing that I've done is go to places being so nervous. I mean, I'm always nervous. I'll never lose the nerves. But in the early days, so nervous. And I remember there was a church service going on, and there was a hall adjacent, and it was all attached. And I remember going in the hall, and I ran. And I'm running like a crazy person up and down the hall just to get my energies going and trying to calm myself down. But Spirit just said to me, run. So by the time I got up on platform, I was out of breath. It was quite funny.
Well, I went to this church once, and it's in I can't remember the name of the building, but it's in this building. It's a multi-faith building, so they have all different religions in this building. And I went along, and I saw all these cars in the car park, and I didn't know this at the time. I thought, oh, gosh, there's going to be a lot of people here tonight. So anyway, I got there, and there's all and I was sort of standing outside because I like to get there early because of my direction problems and what have you, and I always get there early. So they said, "Oh, come in," and we're in the library. So I walked along this corridor. It looked like a school, actually. I think it was a school years ago. And I stood outside this library and I saw all these people walking past me and going into the room next door. And I'm thinking, so am I in the right place? So I wandered up the corridor to look, and there's all these people sitting there. And I think it was a born again Christian organisation service. And they were all sitting there. Anyway, then these two ladies came in. They said, "No, you're in the right place, love. We're in here." Well, sadly, not many people came to the service. They were all going up in the room next door. And they didn't have any music at the service. So and I was trying to do my address in between when the people next door were singing really loudly and clapping and singing all the hallelujahs. So it was quite funny. And another time I went, they weren't there that particular week. Oh no, that was another place. One place I went to, which was a hall, again, which was let out to other people. There was a children's Christmas party going on. So I'm trying to do my mediumship when you've got all the, "Oh, here comes Santa," and all the music going on. So sometimes it's not always easy when you go to places, and the poor people that run the church were saying, "Oh, I'm terribly sorry. We didn't know there was going to be a party." I said, "It's fine." I said, it doesn't matter. But it's, you just never know what's going to happen. But it's interesting because, not everybody has their own church, and sometimes people have to rent rooms, rent halls, things like that. But there's a lot of dedicated people out there that want to sort of set up centres and things like that. And I think if we can go and support them so that they can get people, I think that's important with new mediums and mediums that have been working for a long time, try and support the little people in their halls and centres too.
And for the likes of us to support the new mediums as well, because we were lucky. I mean, I was very lucky that I had people used to come along with me and hold my hand. Gwen Jenkins used to do that. Geraldine has done that, and she's still going. Unfortunately, Gwen is not here anymore. But we were very lucky in that. But and I try to do that with my students. It's like tomorrow night, they're all doing the service and I will be there, come hell or high water. Lawrence has just made me laugh because he said he was 30 minutes late, according to his timetable, for taking a funeral service.
Oh my God.
And they all said, "Oh, nice to see you," and "Hello," and there's him internally screaming with panic.
Oh my God. Oh, Lawrence, that must have been awful for you. But I try and take my students out with me, and I've had them on the platform with me, and in the Zoom room I organise fledgling nights like you do. I think it's important, and when they're when a lot of mine are doing private readings now as well, and I always say, look, if you come across anything that you're not sure about, or I said, I'm here, pick up the phone, talk to me, because when you're all new and somebody throws a question at you and you think, oh, did I answer it right? Have I done the right thing? I mean, I used to, I think, oh gosh, have I said the right thing? But something that I was told by Paul Jacobs again, actually, he always said, if you're sincere and speak from your heart, then you'll say, and it comes from you, then it's the right thing. And you can only also speak from your own experience.
That's exactly right.
Your own experience and in your own opinion. Because your opinion and everybody else's may be slightly different, but you just got to trust your own instincts.
Jenny's just made a comment. She said she went to do a service once and it was held in a working man's club. She was doing the opening prayer with "Come a Chameleon" blaring out in the background.
Yeah. Been there, Jen. Got the t-shirt on that one. We used to I did a service that was next door to a social club, and I walked in because I got there early, and I walked in and we had to walk through the bar of the social club, and they were going whoo like that. They were all making funny comments like that, and they're all sort of like there's music in the other room. I know. We've all been there and done that, but
That's not good. Hello,
No.
Janine. Nice that you can join us. There was something I was going to say then, and I've just forgotten what it was. Something about funny situations, and anyway, it doesn't matter. It'll come to me, I'm sure, when I'm asleep at 3 o'clock in the morning. But it is a wonderful thing to be able to do, and it's a wonderful. It's wonderful that we've been able to. And she's had drunks in her congregation as well. So have I, Jen.
Oh,
Yeah, and people who've had mental health issues that have, screamed and shouted, and it's horrible. But we have to deal with it, and we just get on with it. But it is the most wonderful thing. I think we're lucky here with some of the churches. Oh, that's what I was going to say. Some of the churches that I've actually worked in, the chairperson doesn't talk to you. They sit next to you. They don't say, "Hello, dear. What are you going to do? Are you okay? Do you know the order of service or anything?" I remember once going to a church down in Hampshire, and I'm sitting there with this little old lady sitting by the side of me. She didn't once open her mouth, and it was the scariest for me. It was the scariest thing to do. But I love it when you. I was just going to say about Lynn's church in Ramsgate in Sydney. You go in there, and they all make you feel so welcome, and that is so important. We've had chair people texting during a service as well.
Oh, my God.
I've had that in services, and I actually complained afterwards to the church, because I said the chairperson was texting through the whole service. That is so off-putting.
Oh, very much so.
So rude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I must admit, chairing is very important, and I actually enjoy chairing when I do it. I mean, I chair on Zoom, and I chair sometimes I used to chair at West Wickham on a regular basis.
Yes, you did.
But not many people know this, but the chairperson is actually in charge of the service. They are responsible for the medium and the service. So if anything happens, it's down to the chairperson to sort of sort things out. So you are looking after your medium. And when I chair, I always, be it in Zoom, and I'm chairing tonight actually on a Zoom service, be it in Zoom or in face-to-face, I send my love, and I'm supporting the medium. I'm giving them my love, giving them, so that they are working for spirit, because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter if you're the medium, if you're the chairperson, if the person that gives out the song sheets or hymn books, the person that makes the tea, the person that sweeps up at the end of the service, or the meter and greaser, you're all pulling together to make sure that service comes together, and everybody is an important part of that machine to make it work. So whatever you're doing, and I've done, as you have, all of them, and it's important that everything comes together, so the service flows, people are uplifted, the messages are given, and people go out feeling, yes, I enjoyed that.
Yeah, Jenny's just made a cup of tea, made a comment about no cup of tea after 140-mile round trip. You get thrown out, lights out, and shut the door. And I hate that, because we've done all the training. We're the ones who've got all the nerves. We've the one who've done all the driving. You don't usually get any petrol, any expenses, or anything like that. And there is no respect or thanks. And I find that really hard sometimes when you go somewhere and you think, what is this all about? Why don't those people appreciate what we're doing? Because, as you said, every person's got a part to play, but the medium is the one who's put on the spot. You're the one who's up there to be knocked down, because it's like when you've got people in the audience who will scream and shout at you, which I've had, and I know you have, and I know Jenny has. It's really, really hard. So you want to feel as if you're doing something worthwhile, and feel respected. And that's why I actually pulled away from a lot of the Zoom classes or Zoom demonstrations, because I didn't feel that respect.
No, I know what you're saying. Sometimes there wasn't in some Zoom services, and sometimes there is. But Also, what's also interesting is you may get somebody that comes into the church that doesn't get a message, that needs to talk to a medium. And that, you know, that community, that camaraderie, that person might not have spoken to anybody all week, but they need to speak to somebody. So I think that that's where the church comes into its own. That's where you can talk to the medium. And I think that, you know, don't shut them all out after the service is finished. You know, form a bond, form a community, because that's what needs to happen again after COVID and after lockdown. We need to get those communities together again within the churches.
So Tara, it doesn't matter that you're late. It's nice that you're on here. Lawrence is saying upliftment is so important. Some places are very orthodox in their approach. They are, and they need to lighten up a bit, I think. Penanda has said, nice to meet you, Penanda. She said she agrees. Lawrence has just said the go-in rate in the UK is 45p per mile. Do you know, I asked a church once about expenses over here, and they said, we don't pay expenses to anybody. You come and you use our church hall as your practice platform. I know. Really? I was a bit shocked by that. Gail has just obviously made some comment about Lawrence, which is quite funny. I'm trying to work and you're distracting me. Zoom services are appalling, no structure, discipline and reverence. And yet some of them are, Lawrence. It's just horrible.
And I want to say 45p a mile if you're lucky.
Absolutely. Well, do you know what? I mean, years ago, we used to get the, I think it was £25 was the going thing for a service. And you think, you know, I'm the one who's just spent an hour and a half getting here, an hour and a half doing your service, an hour and a half going home. I got myself prepared before I got here, you know, looking all glamorous and gorgeous and get myself connected to spirit. And people forget that. And they forget, you know, you're driving there and you're going, oh my God, what if nobody turns up? Oh my God, what if I don't make my connection? You know, you've got all of that going on and people don't understand that. So Penanda is from Melbourne.
It's hard, especially with the fuel prices at the moment as well.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
There's other charges that we have now, Val, which when you do come over, we've got the low emissions charge, which is certain places, and also this Ulysses charge. And there are some churches that I serve that are quite close to that. So you've got to be careful that you don't go into that. Otherwise, I have to pay an extra 22 quid.
Especially when you get lost 3 or 4 times.
I know. I know.
It's like being in Europe and crossing the border and getting your passport stamped every time you get lost. I've done that too. Yep. So Penanda is in Melbourne, in Victoria. Penanda, I'm actually coming to Melbourne at the end of July. So go onto my website and have a look, because I've got shows and workshops that are coming up there. Jenny's just said that she did Hayes Church, and a member of the congregation wanted to speak to me. The chairwoman told her to get out and leave me alone. Oh my goodness me. And Jenny Doherty is gorgeous, Penanda. She's coming over here, by the way. So Eva is going to join your service tonight with Karen, Colin and Shaz. And Lawrence has just said, why do you think it's okay to pay someone £15 for two-thirds of an hour return travel and 2 hours serving? So it equates to £3 an hour. Yeah.
Yes, Lawrence, I know.
Yeah. And do you know what? With the likes of you and I, and maybe Lawrence, I don't know Lawrence's story, and Jenny, this is our living. This is what we've dedicated our lives to doing. And this is something that annoys me, because people say, oh, we should do it for the love of it. But we still got to pay our bills and our rent and our fuel to go in our car and things like that. And that's what people don't understand. So it's really hard. And I do get cross. They say, oh, it's a gift. You shouldn't get paid for it. It's a gift. And how many thousands of pounds and thousands of hours, Karen, have you spent and I spent alone, besides anybody else on here? Jenny said she got a tin of processed peas as payment once. But that's something that people don't realize, is we have spent thousands and thousands of pounds and hours, I know I have, over the last 30 years, dedicating myself to learning how to do this job, this work. And even though it is a passion for me, as I've just said, I've still got to put fuel in my car and put food in my belly.
I mean, you know, it's always been a tricky subject. It's always been, you know, those that, oh, I do it for free. And when I worked full time, I didn't charge, you know, I'll just give us a £5. You know, I didn't charge. But now things have changed for me, and this is my job, and you know, it's what I do, and I wouldn't be able to survive unless I had Mike, because you know, it's hard.
Yeah.
And you quite often don't get, you know, sometimes you don't often get your 45 pence per mile, sadly.
No.
But I take it, and I still serve the church. And I think, and what's even better now is I've got my old girls rail card. So if I do, so if I do go to churches and I use public transport, you know, I do get a third off. So that's not too bad. But that, you know, that's not the point. And I think, you know, people should realize that, as you said, there's the training, there's the fuel, there's you know, suits, dresses, all these things cost money, bills cost money, you know.
That's right. And
so it's hard.
I was going to say, and it's funny because you're lucky that you've got Mike that supports you. I'm on my own, so it's all down to me. And I think a lot of people have said, "Oh, she charges too much, and she's doing too much, and this, that, and the other." But you know, you've got to take into consideration. Yes, I'm doing this for the love of it, and because I'm so passionate about what I do. But at the end of the day, I've still got to meet all my bills and things like that. So. Free Jenny. So hold on. Ian's saying about the cost. Ian's saying about the cost of prescriptions. Pananda has said, you know, if you have your hair cut, you've got to pay somebody to get your hair cut. And and she's also said sometimes you may get petrol money. And free prescriptions for the headache of getting to services. I love it.
Lawrence just says, I run a church and do not quibble with mediums regarding travel expenses. Well, good on you, Lawrence.
Yeah, and that's really refreshing to hear. And one of the things that used to annoy me so much in the past was they'd come to give you your expenses, but they'd hide an envelope behind their back. You know, it was if it was a dirty thing to do and give you that money. It was just, oh my goodness. Anyway,
what they used to do years ago is mediums would travel to an area, and then the medium would go round. So you'd stay with somebody, and you do say about 3 or 4 churches, or 2 churches over a weekend and readings or something, and then, you know, it would be worth your while sort of traveling. You know, to do that. That's what they used to do years ago.
That's right.
We don't, and then everybody gets a chance to go and see different mediums from different areas. You know, I went to the Northeast last year, and I took myself up there and paid for myself to go up there, but it was a part holiday, part work. But I loved it and I enjoyed it, and I'm going back again. But I've still got to pay for my travel, and I've still got to pay for my accommodation when I get there.
Well, it's funny because when I go to England to do work, I pay my own flights. I pay my own, car hire and car expenses. And the same here. Nobody else. If I say, I'm going to come and work in Brisbane, nobody pays my expenses to get up there. I'm the one who foots the bill for that. It is really hard. Jenny says she asked for £15 once, and when she opened the envelope, there was 10 in it. Lawrence is saying, "Hooray, Karen." I'm working with that energy here. We have, Jack was over there. Jack,
yes, he was. I know. Yeah.
Oh, well, maybe.
Yeah,
maybe
I saw all the places. I saw all the pictures of when Jack was over, and I thought that was fabulous. How nice for him to experience England and to come and work in the different churches.
Well,
So
actually, I said to Jack that when I come over, we'll get him to come over as well.
Mm.
And I was just going to say to Lawrence, I think it's Poole, Poole Spiritualist Church, and you probably know my cousin Dee Mulhall, and I keep being invited to come down there. So when I come, I'll come and I'll come down to your church as well. That's if you want me to come and visit you, of course.
Lawrence and I we spoke about me coming to Poole too. So I want to come and see Lawrence's church because it looks lovely.
It does.
And so I'd like to come to Poole. So we all want to come to Poole, Lawrence. and maybe Lawrence could then come to East Sussex and you know, I think this is all what it's about. It's about getting together, you know, hosting, looking after friends and mediums that you've made and say, come and work with me. Let's organise something. You know, I love that. I mean, we did it, didn't we, before lockdown in March 2020. You stayed with me. We got the hall. And considering what was going on, we didn't have a bad number that night, really. It was like, and I think we would have had more because it was just about 4 days before lockdown hit. So
and the weather wasn't very good either. Jenny Doherty has said she goes to Swanage via Poole, Lawrence, so you'll have to invite her as well. Actually, do you know what would be really lovely is if a group of us came down and we could do the service, but we could then do maybe a dem, like a medley of mediums or something like that. That would be really lovely, and maybe raise some monies for fun for a charity or something like that. That would be really good.
Neil and I went to Reading recently, and I'd never been to Reading Church, and we did with two lovely mediums, Carol Dorber and her friend Val, and then it was Neil and I, and we raised money for the Ukraine, and it was really nice. We had a lovely evening together working. I love doing things like that. I think it's about you know, coming together as colleagues and working together, and that's what it's about for me. You know,
and you never know, we could maybe organize something, Lawrence, we're talking to you, where we all come down and we could do some workshops as well.
Look, he's working with bookings today. Well, there you go. Synchronicity, Lawrence. Synchronicity. Fabulous.
And Penanda has just said, when you have fun and joy, so do the congregation. I absolutely agree with that, Penanda. Do you know, it was funny, I was disappointed with myself because I've been a bit unwell, and I've been with the grandchildren, and they're all coughing and spluttering, and they very kindly gave it to me. And so I went to do the dem. The hall was noisy. It was an echoey hall. It was freezing cold, and I had the thinnest dress on, and I'm trying to do the mediumship, and I'm thinking, what am I doing? And I'm
I normally have the opposite effect. I normally wear something too hot, then I get all hot and bothered when I'm on the platform.
Jenny's just said we're going to pitch a tent in Lawrence's back garden, so I think that's funny.
A good idea. I've got tents.
A seminar weekend would be gorgeous. We'll have to do that. Okay, so I'm coming in August, September of next year, not this year, next year, 2023. So book us in, Dano.
Absolutely. That'd be fabulous. That'd be really good. Yeah.
Anyway, and we'll try and do the same when you come over here. I know Jenny's coming, and I've got a dem booked with Jenny, and I'm really looking forward to that. And maybe we can get you over here, both of you, next year, and we can do something. We'll try and do that.
I'd love to come because you know, because I love serving the Australian churches online, you know, Brisbane and Wollongong, and I'd love to see them all face to face, which would be
I was going to say that I'm actually doing a dem with Simone Jones and Tracy Allen on Wednesday at Mortdale RSL. If anybody wants to come along, if they're available, and you can quickly get a flight over from the UK as well.
Oh, I'd love to.
But really looking forward to that. So that's going to be a bit of fun. So August, September 2023, he's got a thumbs up for that.
Oh, definitely.
We'll do it. Yeah. So we've sort of gone over time, and it's been a bit of fun, but I loved it. Yeah, I love that. I think it's important that people realize that we love our work, we're passionate about our work, and that what are you laughing at? Broomstick.
Broomstick is quick enough.
I was telling my granddaughters that I've got broomsticks to travel on, and they just looked at me as if to say, "What are you talking about, Nan?" But yeah, it's important that we share our passion with people, because I think there's a lot of people who are oh, hello Vicky. There's a lot of people out there who do this work that don't have that same passion, and they do the same thing. I've got a ring, it's silver, it belonged to your mother. Oh yeah, and they like to have a cup of tea, and oh, they lived in a house that had an upstairs and a downstairs, and you think, what, where's the evidence? You know, where is, I've got a, and I love working this way. I've got a man, he's 5'8". He had a heart attack when he passed. He tells me he's your dad. He still had hair. He played golf on a Thursday afternoon and he did bowls on a Saturday morning. That's the information that we're looking for. You know, well, that's part of the information. There's lots more to it as well. And golden nuggets, absolutely, Vicky. I'm going to have that tattooed on my, or tattooed and put on my epitaph, I think, golden nuggets. Her golden
nuggets of information. I call them pearlers, little pearlers. That's what I call them. But do you know what, Val? It's about the story. You know, we've all got a story, and that person from the spirit world has got a story that they shared with the person that we're connecting to, the recipient. And I think it's the story about that person's life.
Yes.
And I feel honoured for them to share that story with me as a medium.
Oh, totally. Yeah, totally. And it's really lovely because they bring their personalities, they bring their quirky bits, they bring their not so quirky bits, and they're not funny bits, you know, but we're bringing, and as I said at the beginning, we've got to bring people through in an honest way. Otherwise the recipient's going to go, well, that wasn't them.
That's right. That's right. It's very true. That's very true.
You and I know what it's like, you know, when we're in an audience and somebody's giving us information, I'm sitting there going, they don't know what they're talking about. You know, you're not bringing them through. But I was saying to my students the other day, I'll shut up in a minute, that, you know, the whole class, could bring my dad through. And you could all bring my dad through in a completely different way.
Absolutely.
Because there are so many aspects of every single one of us. And we only scratch the surface. Most of the time we don't actually go in. So our life is like a book, and in the book there's many, say 35 chapters. And what we do, or what I see a lot of mediums do, is they literally just are on the contents page, and then they don't go past that. And that's what I say to the students. I want you to go to chapter 10, chapter 12, chapter 72, whatever, but I want you to get that information about the, you know, the in-depth information.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, everybody has got, and you think about what you were like when you were 30 and what you're like when you're now. We change, we evolve, we become the people that we are. I read a lovely reading, and I'll send it to you. It's called Becoming You, and it's about all the things that we go through in life to become who we are meant to be. And you know, and when people go to the spirit world, they can also maybe look back and think, well, perhaps I didn't handle that situation when I was 45 very well, you know, and they can look back on it and see, well, perhaps I shouldn't have done that, or perhaps I shouldn't have said that, or maybe I could have been a better friend there, or maybe I could have been a better husband or wife, you know. So but when we're in a situation, we don't see it. But what's been interesting with my mediumship is they've been coming back to actually say, well, maybe I shouldn't have done that, or maybe I shouldn't have said that.
Yeah.
It's not about saying sorry, because sometimes the recipient isn't ready to receive the sorry, but it's just actually acknowledging that they realize the mistakes they made.
Yeah.
I think is also important, and it's healing.
It is, absolutely. And it's just made me think of a dem that I did. And it was freezing cold, middle of winter in northeast Victoria, and the hall was so icy cold. And again, I had nothing on, you know, a very thin dress. And I brought this the husband through of this lady, and the lady was a pint-sized person, and the husband had a heart attack. So he's telling me all this information, and he's going like this: 3, 3, 3. He said he had 3 sons and 3 watches. I want each of the sons to have one of my watches. But he was showing me the dial on the clock, and it was 3. He said it was 3 o'clock in the morning, and he said, please tell her it didn't matter how many times she jumped up and down on my chest, I was already gone. And I thought, oh my gosh, the whole place just fell about laughing, you know. But it is so important to bring that aspect, but that accurate evidence, isn't it? It's really.
Oh, it
But I
is.
like what you just said. You know, sometimes they're not ready to hear the I'm sorry's or whatever. But sometimes that is what is really needed. You know.
Mm.
Hello, Brett.
Oh, hello, Brett. Nice to see you're on here. Oh, Lawrence
Yeah.
has put booked out provisionally, 7th to 11th of September. We'll contact a centre about 7 miles from Poole as accommodation and meeting halls in countryside setting. He's already on the case here.
We're booking. Anyway, we need to go. But as it's been really fun. Always fun talking to you, Karen.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I know when I came and stayed with you 2 years ago, we had such fun. We laughed and laughed. It was really, really good. But we've got to do the healing. Yeah, the healing for both sides during a message. Absolutely. Oh, thank you, Tama. It's been fun for us as well because we go back such a long way, and even though we're not on each other's doorstep anymore, we still enjoy each other's company, which is great. And Gail has just said she really enjoyed this, but we've got to do a healing. Hello, Nat, and very, very important that we do this. So I've got to find my music, and I'll play it very quietly, and I'm sure Bella will put the music, the words up for me. Sorry, I'm all over the place here. We've been tongue-tied. So we're going to imagine that we're all linking hands, and we're going to imagine that we're linking hands to every person here, and we're sending out the energy, our love to everybody in the group. And we're going to send out with our left hand and feel that beautiful energy flowing in to our right hand. And then we're feeling that beautiful flow. Feel it tingling through your whole body. Feel that beautiful sensation. I know I'm feeling that. It just feels really lovely. So we are then going to expand that energy out as far as we possibly can. We're going to imagine that we are, if every time we breathe in, we're filling our energy field up. And then every time we breathe out, we're expanding that bubble. And that energy is growing bigger and bigger and bigger. And we're expanding it out into our towns, into our country, and then out across our world. So we're encompassing every plant, every animal, every person, and everything in our world. Our world is in a bit of a mess at the moment, so we need to heal our planet. But even our animal kingdom and our plant kingdom. We send out healing thoughts for all the names that have been mentioned so far. But if you do have any other names that need healing, please send them, and I'll put them in my healing book. So sending that lovely, lovely energy out, knowing that Spirit is working with us, Spirit is listening. And then we're going to, when we've sent that energy right out across our world, we're going to bring it back on ourselves. So we then get some of that healing energy as well. Because it's really, really important. Not only do we give, but we receive. And sometimes some of us are very shy at receiving. So please do that. Ask for the healing for yourself as well. It's been a really fun evening tonight. We're going to come up to the chorus in a minute. We've got to sing. I'm going to try and sing anyway. I've been told I shouldn't. But know that what we've done tonight is all about healing. Educating people about Spirit is very healing and very important as well. We need to know that when our loved ones die, they're not gone. They're still around us, always around us. Okay, chorus is coming. Sing along. Make it a better place for you and for me and the entire human race. There are people dying for the living, make a better place for you and for me. Heal the world, make it a better place for you and for me and the entire human race. There are people dying to care enough for the living, make a better place for you and for me. Oscar's joining in. I love it. Karen's dog's joining in as well. He's singing along and sending healing to us all. That's so funny. Let's continue to send that energy out across our world all of this week, and send out as much love and healing energy as you can to people that you meet. You know, and you may see people in the street and you think, oh, they're looking a bit heavy, or they don't look very well, or, you know, they may be on crutches or whatever, and just send that beautiful energy out whenever you can. It has been a very fun evening tonight. Karen, thank you so much. As always, I just love your energy. And I'm the bubbly one, and you're the calm one, and you're very nice and serious. And I just go off on a tangent. I just love it. I listen to you sometimes and think, God, I wish I was that good.
No, I can be quite bubbly and speak
I
my
know
mind
you
too.
can.
But
I
love it. I love being here with you, and thank you for inviting me. And we have such good fun, as you said, and I'll come back on again if you'll have me.
Absolutely. And I know Brett will get you on. We're going to get you out here, which is going to be great. And I'm looking forward to this conglomerate of events that we're going to be doing in the UK next year. It's going to be rather exciting. We'll have our own what do they call it? A seminar weekend. I think that's what Lawrence said. So we'll do something like that, and we'll, you know, because we all got something different to offer, which is very important to realize as well. But keep on trekking, everybody. Keep on staying healthy, happy, and healed, and know that, you know, it's never a wrong thing to ask for healing for yourself, and know that your loved ones are there with you at all times, and all you have to do is to talk to them as if they were still in the physical, because they are in the physical, just don't see them in the same way. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you for having me, and it's been lovely to hear your comments, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for making me feel welcome, and it's lovely to meet you all.
Yeah, thank you, everybody, for being on again tonight. We'll see you again next week. Okay, lots of love to everybody.
Bye.
Bye.